measuring tool. I had it on here. We'll put it on, and it gives you all, I showed you that. You right click and you hit cancel, and you get back to your usual tool. So that's a basic rundown of the bottom ones, or the left-hand side ones. The bottom ones are pretty clear as to what they do. They're the same as the manager, or editor rather, sorry. If you had an image, which I'm going to show you how to do this, use an image as a backdrop in another video. If you had vector files, which are basically the outlines, that's what they call it, you could look at everything in 3D. Um, it's just, that's also 3D, but it's just no shine on it. It's less realistic to me. To me, that's what embroidery thread is shiny, and that's what it's going to look like. So, and then you can see it really flat. I'm not sure what the point of is that. I guess give you a basic outline. 1:1, that's fine. Uh, Sew Simulator, we're going to go over that in a few minutes. Let's just go back to normal. And I guess we can focus on up here. So we can go over some of the things on the top, which are pretty cool. So this is for lettering. So you can insert text, you click on it, and then you can type whatever you want. That's our sponsor, omlpatches.com. You can, these are Embird fonts, which you have to buy, but they're perfect, so they're well worth it. We don't have them all. We only have a few that we use, so you just click on that to change it. You can go down a little bit. You can change the spacing between each letter. You can change the spacing between each word. And if you have multiple lines, you can change the spacing between the lines just by clicking on it. More controls, you can change. This is just if you want to make something specific, change it like that. You can change the angle. You can do a whole bunch of things with it. For right now, we'll just generate stitches. You always have to click on that. Apparently, I have to click on it twice, but there you go. And there it comes up. I tend to, these are all the letters. They're hard to see. How about we change them? There you can see them better. These are all the letters. This one here is the connecting, because part of being a really good digitizer is not having too many jump stitches, and most definitely not having too many trims. It stitches out far better if you can connect everything. This was done automatically, and you can change how it connects, but that's the connecting. See, you click on it and you get the piece. But I have a tendency, because I'm pretty good with my lettering, I right click and I group it. So then see, instead of each letter, then you can grab the whole thing. If you don't want it grouped, then you could, click on, because each of the letters were separate. Let's see if I can undo this. Undo. Yeah. You can click on each letter separately and change the size and move them around how you want. I have a tendency of not doing that, but you can. It makes for really cool embroidery if you do that. We can make that one almost automatically into a capital. I'd move the letters over and make it look better, but then we'll pull out a block there and we will generate that to see. There we go. This lettering is from a font engine. So I'm going to do another video on that and explain you how to load up the fonts and how to use them and which ones are going to work and which ones are not. So that one will work, but it pulls all the fonts that you have loaded on your computer. Some of them are good. Some of them just simply will not work in embroidery. Basically, if it's nice and fat, it will work. This is my favorite font here. I guess you can't see that. Let's scroll up a bit. There we go. Shows you all the letters, all the different things you can do. That's a pretty one too. If it's really thin, this one will work, but it's going to do a nice thin satin stitch. I guess bigger is better on that one. If you were making it smaller, it's not going to work very well. But you have, there's hundreds. This is one of our favorite ones. It's called Gunplay. We use it all the time on patches. So you can just pick which ones you want. There's a lot of adjustments you can make on that. Um, Again, the same ones, the spacing and everything, and you just have to um, trial and error, make sure it works. We're gonna look at this one, and let's go into 3D. See, that one's not too bad. It's nice how the satin stitches start smaller and get bigger in a nice column. That works perfectly. So yeah, that's going to stitch out great at that size. What is the size? Let's block it off, and it's down at the bottom. It's going to give you all the information. This is the placement on the hoop. This is the zoom. We're zoomed in quite a bit, so it's actually quite small. It's 1.39 inches by 0.45, and it has 1,004 stitches. Lettering always has a ton of stitches. So I'd like to see that one a little bit bigger. See, it's still, you can see it very nicely. Very pretty. Now I've made it up to 2,000 stitches, and it's 2.5 basically by 1. So that's nice. Except for, let's see, let's change some colors. So these are, you can change your color palette. I just have it on basics, but you click on the color you want, hold down your left mouse key, and drag it down to where you want. And that's how you change colors. And because I haven't grouped this, I can just pull down the colors. And you should match the connecting stitches too, because that's kind of weird. Match it to either this one or the other one, because otherwise your machine will want a color change. And if you have a single needle machine, that will drive you crazy very quickly. Very quickly indeed. So let's see what else we can do with these. You can zoom, that's what this key is. You can zoom to selected objects. So you make a box or you click on it. And then you can zoom right in and it'll zoom that whole part. Zoom and edit. So it gives you a chance to edit the stitch points, which I guess I can show you that. See, it zooms, it saves you trouble. So if you didn't really like the shape of this, you wanted it, you just move it up. And then we would move this out. The circle icons are for curves. So you can, if you pull this out, see it'll curve. And the square anchor points are straight. So you can move them around, and just like that, you've changed the letter to exactly how you want it to be. This is on auto column. You can change it to motif. You can change it to plain fill. Auto column looks really nice. But say you want this just, oh, I'd like that a bit thicker. It's clicking with the left mouse button and holding it down to get where you want. And you can see you can create that one needs to go down a bit. You can create a nice curve. I'd like it a bit thicker in there, I think. And you just click around. This is basically what digitizing is, making it perfect. When you're done, you either click the check mark and then you have to generate, or just generate. See, I think that looks a little bit better with it a little bit thicker. And no, those aren't too thick. You don't want to go too much fatter than that. But it's not bad. Delete. If you want the whole thing deleted, you can click on that. Duplicate. If you want another one, that's kind of handy. I usually do right click and do it, but that's just as easy if you get to know what's up here. Copy into clipboard. You can copy and paste. Now with Embird Studio, you can only have one thing open at a time. However, you can merge documents in. They can only be EOF files. But you can only have one thing open. So if I wanted this specific O, but I wanted on another document, you can copy it, and then you have to save and close this, and then you have to open it up again and then paste it down. It can be handy. Use it all the time. Copy into clipboard. We just did that. Undo. I have a tendency to go up here, but it's right here. Stitch point editor, you can edit the nodes, which is what we just basically did. We're going to go over all of these in a future video, because they're all very handy. You can add nodes, you can subtract them, you can change them, you can change how they look. You can duplicate a mirror, so it's going to duplicate this whole thing and then make a mirror image of it. this one is basically, it'll mirror it horizontally, and this one will mirror it vertically. So that's a lot of really groovy shortcuts for that. See, I clicked the check mark, and now because I want to see it and I'm working in 3D, I want to see the stitches. That's how you do that. All right, moving on. What are we at? Parameters, that's always handy. Oops, that opened outside your view. And can I move it? Yes, this is what the parameters comes up with. And you can change everything. Hopefully you know what pull compensation is, but I'm going to do a whole video on that. It just basically makes the stitches just a little bit longer to compensate for the pull of the needle on the fabric. If you don't have enough pull compensation, and say I have this with a fill stitch on the inside, there's going to end up being a little space. You need to overlap, and pull compensation is a very quick way of doing it. Stitch density, uh, I guess I tend to use this, generate stitches, so it just made the whole thing 395 stitches. Use it not so much on satin stitches, I guess. You can on some, but I have it. Oh, it opened up there again. Darn it. There we go. So I put it up to 5. Standard, normal, basic is 4. So generally leave it at 4. Auto column, you have a few different things you can do here. Use a pattern. Again, you have your motif. You can do that. Or you can change it to plain fill. Now, with plain fill, you have what these are down here. These are the underlay. Underlay is very important to embroidery. Underlay, this program does underlay all automatically. So you can, it lays down some stitches, and then it puts these over top. And if you don't have proper underlay, and a lot of big embroidery companies skip on underlay because it takes a lot more stitches and a lot more time to do, always use underlay. You don't have to have all 3 of them, but I would recommend at least 2 out of the 3. It just lays the material down and makes a great base for your stitches, and the whole embroidery will look better in the end. So I changed that. See the difference? This is satin stitches, which is what we normally use for lettering, but you don't have to. You can use this as a regular fills kind of squished into that. Okay, where were we? There's different styles. They're easy to figure out. I guess I can make a video on that. I just leave everything normal. We're stitching on twill most of the time, so I tend not to change the style. What it will do will, if you pick something difficult fabric like nylon, it will change. You apply that style, and it'll apply a pull compensation and the proper density and everything. So it is very handy, and you should use it. Color picker, if you want to change the colors to something specific, say you had a picture back here, that's what you would use for that. Color from a catalog, we can look at that. Let's see where it opens up. I was on the light blue as the last one. You can call up whatever your favorite um, thread type is. We happen to use Madeira. That seems to be the best. We have 2 commercial machines and 2 brother machines. Madeira works on all of them. So we tend to use that. And you can set up your own color palette using this. And you can mark the ones, they're, usually numbered. Just look on the thread. That's fine. Okay, where were we? Erase stitches. It's basically, it's yeah, that's all it does. So it's the opposite of generate stitches. Change the hoop size. That one's kind of handy. I would probably just make my screen bigger. I have it quite small so you guys can see everything clearly. But you can, if you're doing a big design and you have a small hoop, obviously half of it isn't going to show up, so you need to click on that. And you have some other things in here, which some of them are quite interesting. So right now my hoop is 8.22 by 8.28. So um, let's go to a standard one. You can't really see the hoop. It's just where it ends. So, I mean, that's okay. Save. Let's do auto file, auto save. I think it's auto saves every 10 minutes. Please check that because it really sucks when you spend 3 hours doing a design and it's gone. And this one will create backup files for you. Grid, you can set up the grid, which will only show up when you're in normal, not on 3D. I tend to use both, I guess. Edit mode, you can change the colors, the different nodes. So the circle means curved and the square means straight lines. So if you just want different colors, you can change that, I guess. Selection, when it's selected, everything will turn red. 3D preview, I don't know if you can see it in the background because I have it white, but you can change on this 3D view, and it only works on the 3D view. You can change the background. So if you want to see it on something else, that's how you do it. Guidelines, you can just change the colors. I just kind of leave everything, but we'll hit apply anyways. If you want to see the grid, you have to go to normal and then set up the grid. You can kind of see mine. I need to make my lines darker, but you can see it. You can also set things to snap to grid. So if you bring it up here, it's going to snap right there, however you want it. We do pretty different stuff, so I don't like anything snapping anywhere. But it's quite handy for that. User editors. This is how you can create your own borders, your own patterns, your own stitch patterns. It looks really complicated. It actually isn't that bad, and it's really kind of fun. You can create, little dash hounds, little cats, little special designs, and it'll be just part of your pull down menu, and you can make really nice stuff. Really easy, really fun. So over here too is another one, envelope. It's kind of cool. I tend to use this a lot. You wouldn't necessarily use it for one letter. You'd use it for a whole word, but you can change how it goes. Isn't that neat? Let's move it so we can see it. But anyways, you can change generally the shape of it and it'll stick to what you want. Let's try this one. Yeah, you can. I guess it works better with it's better to show you with a whole word, but we're zoomed in quite a bit. Kind of neat. So there's a whole bunch of those. That is a really fast way of doing really cool lettering. You can change how the whole thing works. Generate stitches, finish object. They just have it written out. It's the same basic controls. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. I'm going to zoom out a bit. I guess that'll do. Let's go switch to 3D because I just happen to like that better today. And now let's go to envelope. See how it does? It works. You can see it much better with a whole word. And you can very, very quickly make really cool changes. Now these ones here, we'll pull it out and change the whole. You can change it's for the curve. So you can change the whole curve of it. This, of course, that's straight. So, I mean, I guess let's see if we can do something kind of cool. You can make make your own monograms very quickly and very easily doing this. Change the whole shape, change the whole design. It's really cool. I love playing with lettering with this one. It's so much fun. And I don't know what that was, but all right, Embird. Cancel. Okay, there we go. Where did we leave off? You have to click on something. Auto outliner. Yep, this one's cool. Yes. Yes, just answer the question. So what that did was made an outline automatically for my letter. And it grouped it, and I kept it the same color because that's what I said for it to do. I don't like that orange. It's kind of bugging me. Dragging it down. How cool is that? And that is the outline. So, and it's locked. You can see that. You can tell the difference. So when I was pulling colors down, how about we do the right color, like black. Now see how perfect that looks? Now Embird, when you do auto outliner, it knows enough to stop over the crossed pieces. See how that is? Let me see if I can zoom in. It's great for that. So it outlines it, it's in a bit and it's supposed to be in a bit. And see, instead of following all the way down, it knows to go around. And that is a fantastic look and so easy to do with 2 clicks. Auto repeat is kind of neat. I don't have enough room. Let's just go design, new. I am not going to save it. Let's do a pretty letter A, capital A. Oh, how about a capital? There you go. And how about we make it kind of fancy? No, that one's not really fancy. Not liking it. And that's all I got on that one. I could go through and do the other type, the true type font, but not going to for this one. So we're going to generate it. If I can click properly, and yes, I did. See all of our nice stitches? And then you can go, I clicked on the duplicate. So you could do it in a circle, and you can tell it how many times that you want. And you can get pretty technical with it. You can mirror horizontally. Yep, bless you, teenager. Mirror horizontally, mirror vertically. You can remember, once you get this set up how you want, you can remember the settings. So you can have circle, line, square, rectangle, or area. So area is just going to fill up the area with it. Line, obviously in a straight line, so we want 4 letter A's. Yeah, why not? Preview it. There you go. And I had mirror vertically, so it's going to mirror it vertically, mirror it horizontally, mirror it back again. Um, Really cool. Really, really cool. If you have a flower, oh, let's generate stitches and then you can see they're all, oh, did I not click generate stitches? Oh, well. Anyways, you get the idea. But if you had a flower and you wanted to make, or a snowflake, that's how they do them with the snowflake names. You write out the names and then you copy it around in a circle and it usually makes a gorgeous design. Tons of fun with that. But the possibilities are endless using this tool, auto repeat. You can pull up just even a simple flower design and you can create something, or geometrical designs, do a shape and then multiply it. There's a lot of other things you can do with it too. So that's all the icons. These ones up here are basically the same. It depends if you want to click and have a pull down menu, or if you want, these are the basic icons that you function with. So it depends what you want. So you can merge a design, has to be an EOF though, it won't bring it up. Save in compact form. Not sure when you'd use that. I don't think I ever have, but I guess if you're selling the EOF files, or if you want to send it to someone, that's how you do it. Import vector file. Vector files are the best for digitizing, and we're going to go over that on how to bring in an image and what kind of images you need to do. Because a lot of times if you have say a crappy JPEG and it's really small and you want to make it bigger and then you want to digitize on this, you always have to zoom in to get your stitches placed properly. You'll find they'll get pixelated and it's really hard to do. So vector files are the best. How to do borders on it, parameters, we went through that. This is how you change your color palette. Through the drop down menus. Undo, you use that a lot. The shortcut is Control Z. You tend to use that a lot. Not that you're making mistakes, but you just want to make changes, and sometimes it's a lot easier to just pull it out like that. Image, this is how you bring in an image. You import it. And then you can crop it, you can change different things, you can change the size of it. This is how you would add text. You can also do text to a line, so you can go down to your line tool, and let's see, we go like this, and we go like that, not too swirly because you want to be able to see the letters. You generate that, you leave it selected, and then you text with selected object as the baseline. And see, it's going to stitch right on it. So OML. I think I would change that font and make it quite a bit smaller, but that'll work. So isn't that cool? And if you change the character spacing like this, it's going to stretch it out. So you could play around with that. That's very easy to do, and you can come up with some really, that's how I would do it probably there. That's kind of cool. And of course, generate stitches. And there you go. You want to check that out in 3D? Yeah, we can move the A out of the way just a little bit there. Very cool. Shape, I guess I can show you that really quickly. Let's delete this so we have a little more room. So the way this works, and it seems a little confusing because you think you should be able to just click and draw it out. Um, that makes sense, but it doesn't make sense in Embird because you have to tell Embird what kind of a shape you want. Do you want it filled with stitches? Do you want it an outline? There's so many different things you can do. So you have to tell it what you want first, lay down the first stitch, and then go up to shape. You would use ellipse 4 elements with a very small circle, and this is for bigger circle because you don't want too many. You can pull out a triangle, rectangle, rounded rectangle, or star. How about we do a star? And you just pull it out and get it to the size that you want. And then once you've done that, your only option right now is to cancel, and you don't want to do that. So you want to right click and you go to 2 elements, and then it sets up all the anchor points for you. Then you can generate the stitches. You can also change what you want. What kind of fill? Let's do an interesting kind of fill. Let's do a bricks or basket weave, and then generate it. And you see how the stitches turn out? We're quite small. See if you can see those better. Oh, and now I have to generate again. See how wonderful that is? How about we change the color and we'll make it a purple. See, now you can see that's the what makes it really cool for those kind of stitches. All right, backed up here, objects, edit the points, generate stitches, but it's probably easier just to use the icons. Parameters we've gone over. User editors, that's just another way to personalize it. Styles, you can edit a style, apply the basic ones, erase stitches, but we like to see them in 3D. These are all your color options. Tune colors, which would just kind of change it a little bit. Stitch analysis, kind of handy as well. So transform, if you had another object, you could snap to previous object. You can create a connection, which is really handy. You select 2 and you create a connection so you don't have any trims and jumps. You can flip it around, rotate it. Transformation window is, oh, let me pull that down, is quite involved. We'll just skim over it, but we're going to spend a lot of time on this one. You can rotate it a certain amount and apply to duplicate and see how that changed. This is another one. You can skew it. So you pull it out, you change, side to side or up and down. You can resize it if you need it resized specifically. If pulling it down and bigger doesn't do it quite specifically enough for you, that's a very fast way of doing it. You can change the position in the sewing order. Very handy. This one, there's a lot in this transformation windows. It's how you align different objects. You have to have 2 of them selected. That's why none of this is open. So I needed to have the star and the A selected, and it'll automatically snap and align them. Align through the middle, align through the bottom, and sideways. Okay, so this does, if you have 3, we only have 2 up. I guess we kind of have that one, but I haven't applied it yet. If you have 3 objects, this is a very, very quick way of making the space in between the objects equal and perfect. It's brilliant and it saves you a lot of time. So snoop around the transformation window. I would do like 3 things, maybe 3 letters, and then play around and see what they do. It's very easy and it'll help you out a lot. So apply to duplicate, apply, close. How's that for cool? So we just created a whole other star with a different angle. How about we generate the stitches? There you go. How cool is that? It didn't work quite as well because we'd have to change the stitch angle to still be going at 0. See, they kind of fade out when they go sideways. So anyways, that was our basic introduction to Embird, the 3 elements of Embird. The manager, the editor, and where everything happens is in the studio. Hopefully that gives you a good start to digitizing. Our next video is going to be more about working in studio and how to do stuff, the different shapes, more on lettering, um, the different design parts, which are over here. You can change the order in which it stitches out just by moving it, right clicking and holding and moving it before or after. So now it's going to click that star, it's going to stitch that star, it's going to stitch the A and then the other 2 stars, one of which you see it's an outline because I haven't generated it. We can also change the colors and maybe you can see that better. So those are the 4 elements that I have. I don't have any connectors. I don't have anything like that, but everything shows up here. This view down here is more, um, in detail. You can kind of zoom in and see what the whole object is. This is kind of small. This is much bigger. We don't have any parts. I'll show that to you. You probably saw it come up with the lettering it shows, because these are just one thing, one stitch. This has a couple of different elements to it. So the parts, if you need to look at it, it stitches that first, and it has a little connector to bring the stitches up. It's this part of the A, and another connector to position the needle in the right spot. See, lettering is quite complicated. And so you can see the different parts. You can delete different parts. You can add to it and place them properly. It's just more specific for placing stitches and moving stuff around and making sure all your connections are done properly. Anyways, thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Look down below for comments, and we will post links, and link for Embird, link for our sponsor, and hopefully if you guys have any questions, you can put them there. I will also give you a link to our blog where you can ask questions and we can figure out how to do things, and I can answer everything that you need. Anyways, thank you, and we'll see you on the next video.